Hi, Zanae Brooks, running for State Auditor. This is part of the What Does the State Auditor Actually Do series. The first one I did was about the State Board of Finance, which is a three-person committee. The auditor, the treasurer, and the state's budget director who sit on this committee. Is basically an extension of the legislator, but they meet once a month to approve or deny transfers between the different funds, working with the different agencies, all of that. So that was video one. Video two was about the Hoosier Start Deferred Compensation Plan, which if you are a state employee, you have the option to participate in this plan. And so that was video two. And now I want to talk through the annual comprehensive financial report. So I won't nerd out too much on you here because I don't want you to turn the video off, but just so you know that I know what I'm talking about, but also like where you can find some of this state information. So I do want to show my screen a little bit so you can see where to find this information and some cool information that's actually in these reports. It's basically the state's annual comprehensive financial plan. So all activities throughout the year, there are a ton of different financial statements, government financial statements, fiduciary funds, all of these things that you don't need to know about, but also some other just like general information. So I'm going to show you where to find it and what's in this report. So you go to the auditor's website. So you'll see here, indiana.gov/auditor. On here, like I said, I just talked about the Hoosier Start program. There's a whole bunch of forms on here. Here's the HR system, the transparency portal. I think I talked about that a little bit. I might need to come back and do a deeper dive. But today we are talking about the annual comprehensive financial report. So we'll go here. And that's going to pull up all the reports for the last however many years. And if you click on one, then it will open up this PDF for you. So this is basically the report. As you can see, it's almost 300 pages. I am not going to read that to you, but I want to highlight a couple things. So you'll see here, annual comprehensive financial report prepared by the Indiana State Auditor. This will be my name soon. On here, got the seal of the state of Indiana, which is interesting. And then you have acknowledgments. You have all the staff in the auditor's office that work on the report. You have the auditor of the state's biography here. You have all the former auditors, which if you go through the list, you won't find a black woman. There was a black guy, Dwayne, that held the office on the Republican side for less than 6 months. And there were also, I think, only 7 or so women on this list. So there's that. We have an opportunity to make some history, add some diversity to that list. And then you have the table of contents where you can see everything that's included in this report. Those things I just said. You have the auditor's report, which is done by the State Board of Finance. The State Board of Accounts. Then you have all of these different types of financial statements that I mentioned. Then you have some other supplementary schedules, some more information in financial statements, some more financial statements, some more stats about the state of Indiana, and that's it. So I think, so here you'll have, this is a letter that is provided to the governor, just explaining how this report was created, the profile of the government here, factors that affect the financial conditions, because what this report is trying to do is tell the story of the state finances throughout the year. So what happened? Were there significant events that caused a certain reactions or certain transactions? So here you see them talking about the coronavirus that had a significant effect on how the state could do business, right? And then you have major operations coming up. So cash, debt, financial policies, long-term planning. If you want to know how the state operates, you can read this report. We also have major initiatives. So like K through 12 education, it says that, it's the funding for elementary and secondary education is the state's largest operating expense. Then you have higher education. And then it talks about the state supports 7 higher ed institutions: Ball State, IU, ISU, Ivy Tech, Purdue, USI, Vincennes. So it goes on and on, talks about transportation, talks about the environment, health and human services, on and on and on. That's the end of that letter. Then at the end of that letter, it talks about how the state has received a certificate of achievement. So basically, you get this certificate of achievement if you turn in your report on time, if it's easy to read, some general message. So the state has been doing a really good job of doing this, submitting this report on time. This was interesting. I think this might be helpful for some people. This is the basically the org chart for the state. So you'll see the citizens and you will see the three branches of government: legislature, executive, and judicial. So under the executive branch is the governor. Under the governor are the colleges here, the different departments. So Department of Corrections, Department of Health, the Office of Management and Budget, State Police. And then under the governor is the lieutenant governor. Also part of the executive branch, not reporting to the governor, are the admin or executive offices. So that's where you have the Attorney General, your Auditor of State, Secretary of State, Treasurer of State. Again, these are executive offices of the state, not reporting basically to anyone except for the citizens of Indiana. So yeah, then it just goes down some more. So you got some more. Here's the auditor's report, which is just a lot of words here. If you're an audit person or accounting person, feel free to go read it. But it's basically saying that the audit was performed in line with, government standards and a bunch of accounting lingo. Now you have a management discussion and analysis, which again, what happened throughout the year from a financial standpoint, but then also any extenuating circumstances or events that affected the state. So I think I went probably nerded out a little bit too much for you guys. I do want to show on here, you can see the different pie charts, which are pretty helpful if you want to see. This one is tax revenues. So you'll see majority of tax revenues comes from sales here. Then you've got income taxes, insurance, alcohol, tobacco, fuel, gaming, and other. Then you have total revenues. So grants and contributions, charge for services, taxes, and other not related to any specific programs. Then you have expenses. You can see majority of that, health and welfare. Then you've got education, public safety, transportation. So again, some pretty good information in here. I do want to skip down before I lose your attention to the statistical section, which shows some interesting stats that I wanted to show you guys. So it's got the state of Indiana county facts. So you can see the county, total population, how big it is, how many bridges, municipal streets. So that's some pretty cool information if anyone's interested in that. And then you've got the 20 largest public companies, which is pretty interesting. And it shows where they are located. I currently work at the second largest public company, fun fact. And then if you go down, you'll see the 20 largest private companies on here and how much revenue they have, what city they're located in. Then you have the top employers in the state, which Walmart, I don't think I realized that, but Walmart, you have the government, the state, IU Health, IU, Kroger, Purdue. Then you get into some of the public and private organizations, which makes sense. And then just more, this is about education, so school enrollment. And then you've got here the largest private colleges and universities and where they are located. So, it's not just numbers, some other cool information about the state. But you can find that again on the State Auditor's website. If you just go to this drop down and select Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit today. Really just want to show you, what would be under my responsibilities, what is under the state budget, the state auditor's office. And you can see there's a staff of, I don't know if it's still at 100 people, but there are maybe 10 or 15 other key leaders that would work right under me to help pull all of this information together. So that is one of the 3 or 4 top responsibilities of the state auditor. Last thing, remember, if you want to support my campaign in the way of donations, calls, canvassing, passing out lit, you can find me online at votezane.com. I'm on all social media channels at VoteZane or LinkedIn. It's my name, Zane Brooks. We really need help, obviously, raising money, but also name recognition. And we need to get people excited about getting out the vote in November. Actually, early voting starts in October. So October 11th through November 8th, we really need to be pushing to get more people to the polls. We've got to get rid of the supermajority that's in the government right now so that we can ensure that government, state business of Indiana is more equitable, it's more diverse, it represents the people, it's more transparent, and that folks are accessible. So remember, if you want to help, go to votezane.com, and at least whenever you go out to vote, take a couple friends, drive people to the polls so we can really affect change in our communities.